Observability is a culture that sometimes can be a really challenging for people to understand the value of it, because at some point the engineers, they are just focused on deploying new services and deploying new features and deploying new applications. But it's not just about deploying new features and deploying new services, but how you're going to observe and understand that your services has been healthy.
I'm Ken Rimple.
And I'm Jessica Kerr.
You're listening to Observability Cast, a monthly series where we talk about how we can make production systems more observable, more reliable, and easier to maintain. o11ycast is brought to you by Heavybit, the leading investor in developer-first startups. For more information, visit heavybit.com.
If you're interested in being a guest on this show, or if you have a specific topic you'd like us to dive into, you can reach us on Twitter at o11ycast.
Resilience means to really help every new banker run their applications with confidence. That's our mission here. So you see reliability not just as a technical tool, but as how you can really help the teams provide a better experience for your customer, thinking the customer journey itself.
Nubank has an interesting mission and architecture. So tell us what's different about Nubank? What do you do?
The difference about Nubank, I think, is how we have the autonomy to build things. So the teams here are very horizontal. And every pack, every squad, every pack, they have very high autonomy to really be developing on their own. So firstly, we work with microservices. So it's not a monolith, which is very good for us. So you can build small parts of the application without affecting other parts. And that's what makes Nubank grow very fast in a very sustainable, scalable way. And that's how we are having now over 100 million customers in Brazil. And we have operations also in Mexico and Colombia. And if you're thinking a company that was created in 2013, so 12 years.
Wow.
That's a lot of customers, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of customers. So it could be like the owners and the co-founders, they also mentioned that they never thought that you would have over 100 million customers in Brazil in a very short period of time. And this was able to do this because of the culture and the autonomy that you have here.
So the engineering culture?
Yes, engineering culture, people culture. So everyone can give opinion about something. You don't need to be asking for something to do it. You can just do it and discuss with people. And if something goes wrong, that's okay. You just hold back and redo it or change the way you are doing something. So here, even junior people that just got in Nubank, they can have an opinion about something. We are very vocal about things. We do not just accept it what somebody else is saying. We can be the owners of our own story here. So what you say here, we truly act like owners and not renters, and we are always change the status quo. So that's the success behind the Nubank, change the status quo and act like owners, not renters. And I think that's what everybody does here. Is still the day one.
Wow. And so your team helps everyone have the confidence to do all of that?
I think so. Yeah, no, I think so. I'm very confident that you really help people to do that. And once they are developing something, deploying new services, they are really able to go through the logs, metrics, and now tracing, to understand what's going on with their services, but not just with the microservices that they are responsible to, but how the other services, other microservices is affecting their services and how the whole flow has been affected by the way you are deploying new things. So with tracing and with Honeycomb, you really can understand the whole flow and they have the end-to-end view of a journey, of a process, which was a bit harder before.
So what was the journey for you to get to the point where you were able to have tracing happen for you? So was it originally like metrics and logs? And then what was that migration? What did it look like for you?
Yeah, people are very used to use metrics and logs here. So when something happens, we have alerts and dashboards. We have some canonical dashboards, but also have some customized dashboards. But in metrics, it's okay. You can understand what's going on there, but you cannot have the whole view. And with logs, it's very hard to really see and understand the whole history behind a specific crash or incident. So you really need to have traces to have the a broader understanding what is going on in our journey, in your flow. So we have been talking to the users here internally, and they are really excited to have a tool that can really help them to understand the whole flow and the whole view. Actually, during this week, I always, as a product manager, I have to talk to my users, to my customers. And today I have 2 calls to talk about their experience in Honeycomb and with traces. And they mentioned that they're really excited to use it. And they mentioned how it was harder to do it before we implemented tracing in Honeycomb at Nubank. So, for example, one user mentioned that now is much easier to understand the bottlenecks in a flow and the latency and how easy it is to do a query at Honeycomb and how visual the things pop up to them. So with logs, they could do it, but it's much harder. And the way you query, it's not that easy. And with this experience with tracing Honeycomb, is much easier for them to really, just with few steps and boom, the magic happens.
And they see the whole flow of like a transaction. And this Nubank has particular reasons that the whole flow matters, right? Because you have to be very efficient.
Yes, we have to be very efficient because we have been growing a lot. And also we need to attend some regulations. So there's some SLAs with the regulator that we need to be able to respond if something happens. We have some SLAs that really need to be very restricted to it. And also with tracing and Honeycomb, we could be able to understand the whole flow from app, from mobile, from app until the back end, going through the database as well. And also understand if there's any gap with external provider.
Right. And you're in the financial industry, right?
Yes.
I mean, I guess it's in your name that you're a bank, Nubank.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're not a normal bank.
Yeah, it's not. We say, it could be like a financial technology. We are a technology company that our goal here is to fight complexity. So it started to really help make the life of users much better. So the first product was the credit card. So it was much easier to get a credit card with much less bureaucracy compared to the traditional banks. But Nubank is not just a regular bank. We really exist to fight complexity. It's much more as a money platform. Currently at Nubank, you can schedule trips. I have bought some flight tickets.
Schedule trips. Wow.
Yeah, hotels. So it's not just about application where you leave your money there. Also, it's much easier for you to organize your life financially speaking. You have some money boxes where you can save money over there, and you have an objective for each box, a goal for each money boxes. But also, you can buy a bus ticket, for example, through the marketplace that you have inside the application.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you kind of a user, kind of the lifestyle of the user, you're kind of making it easier for them to kind of go through their day, get things done, organize how they're saving and what they're going to be putting money towards and giving them the ability to do all these things. You had mentioned, like we talked in the beginning about microservices, we mentioned databases, but you also mentioned the apps. what are you observing like at the closest to the user? How far do you get up in observability? Do you go all the way to like a mobile app and observe what's happening in there, or a web browser? Or is it like the services that are called from those? Where do you end up?
I guess a little bit of everything. Like mobile is very important. For us, we are really focused to really improve the app experience, so to reduce the latence. And from app to go to the microservices and how to see the connection between each services and how the things are connected in the back end, and also understands all the databases, the datomic, the latency, and how the things are really internally connected. So I would say it's like from app, from mobile up to back end and going through the databases as well.
Yeah, and the database Datomic is kind of a unique database too. Can you talk about how that's different? And I hear you're instrumenting it.
Yeah. We are instrumenting. We have the common Datomic, and we already instrumented at Honeycomb and tracing.
Wow.
And again, like this week, I was talking to the Datomic team because they're really closing together to how you can. It's not just implementing the tracing, but be really careful about the data quality that you have in the platform. So how you can really extract the most valuable thing of the platform. So, and people in the Datomic, the users, the Datomic folks, they are extremely excited with the tool. Datomic is very powerful because it can help you in the audit. So financially speaking, you can really understand the whole flow. You can really handle a massive amount of data. And now the Datomic company, actually it's part of Nubank, like you purchase the
Oh, nice.
Cognitech.
Cognitech, yeah, that's the vendor.
Yeah, that's the vendor. The Cognitech is part of Nubank right now.
Nice.
We have basically two type of teams, let's say, like the Datomic core, the people responsible to really be developing and improving Datomic, not just for Nubank, but for other clients that they have. And also you have the abstraction team responsible to do some abstraction, focus on our internal use case, like focus on Nubank. So talking about those two different teams, and one for them, like, and why trace is very important for them. Talk about the first team, which is the Datomic core. They really use the tracing for developing new features, to do new rollouts, to really be improving, developing the Datomic itself as a product, and how they can leverage Datomic. So Trace is very helpful to leverage the Datomic capability and understand then how they can really improve as a product. And the abstraction teams, we have been working together to really improve the data quality that it's going to be displayed at tracing at Honeycomb.
Oh, that's cool. So Datomic team and the team around it are implementing OpenTelemetry inside the database layers. It sounds like both so that the Datomic core team can improve Datomic, and so that the other teams at Nubank are getting really good data on how they're using it.
Yeah, that's correct. And it has been a game changer because the team uses it's heavily to debug the distributed system and to optimize the performance. So with tracing can be really faster and more powerful than rely on logs and metrics.
Mm-hmm.
So they're really working to make the data quality much better. And they're really excited to be working with this because that's the tool that they can really do a faster debugging, understand the performance, and deliver a value much faster.
Sweet. And I heard a talk by Kat Switel at the Agile conference this summer. She was talking about how important the performance of a whole transaction flow is at Nubank, because part of the business model is being able to serve customers that aren't profitable for other banks. And they do that by being really efficient. And that's your engineering teams making their microservices really efficient.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because currently, if you think or if you check for a service isolated. Like, okay, each services has their default alerts or custom alerts or dashboards, but see a problem isolated did not really bring value, cannot really improve. And sometimes you waste a lot of time to trying to understand where the problem is, where the issue is. So my team now, we are thinking about not just provide a better reliability and to the services itself, but how it's connected to the whole customer journey. So if you think about some credit card transactions, or we have here some other type of lending operations, or any other type of operations, we need to be able to think how health my service is, but not only that, but how my service is connected to the final user experience. Someone open the app and trying to really make a lending, or really trying to send their money to their parents, to their sister, or to other person, for them to be able to buy something that's really important. So reliability plays a very important role here to provide not a good observability for specific services, but how it's connected to the whole business and customer journey.
And I wonder if part of that is we go back to the front end again, but part of that is you have this thing you're doing, and your user is basically taking an activity and trying to complete it. So from let's say a mobile app perspective, what are the kind of challenges that you run into in mobile app observability, and like how that affects having the front end involved? How does that affect your visibility into what's going on, and what might you do differently based on problems you see, like in one microservice versus another being called by that mobile application?
I would say maybe, I guess, the massive amount of data. It can be one of things, because as you have a lot of data coming from different places, from app to back, it can be very challenging for us to be handling a very expressive volume of data that grows significantly month over month. And when we are during a debug or during a crash, how we can provide a data that really brings value, because we can just display all the information in the software, in the reliability applications. But is that the data that my user and my client internally really needs to do a good debug in a faster way and not be wasting time trying to find where the issue is? I guess for me, the challenge is thinking about data governance and data quality, and how to handle massive amounts of data, and how you can really just display at the screen what's most valuable for the user, so they cannot be wasting time to trying to find where the problem is. That's the most challenging thing about the data governance, and provide a good data quality.
So going through the whole journey of like a user, going through the application process, right? I'm sure one of your goals is to make it as quick and painless as possible. But I know that especially even in the United States, we have, lots of like agreements you have to click through and take a look at as you kind of step your way through the process. So do you use observability right now to kind of track, did it go from step to step by customer, and see where people stop and give up, that kind of thing, and then improve it based on that? Are you at that point in your journey yet?
That's something that I'm in the area where I provide capabilities for the teams to do that. As you have so many business areas, business units, and squads, and we are the area responsible to provide these tools, like in observability speak, like logs, metrics, tracings, and provide the telemetry signals for people be really able to build this journey and connect the signal, understand where the issue is. So I'm not the person that's going to be doing this, but I'm the person responsible to provide the software and all capabilities so each team can have their autonomy to track the whole flow and understand where the bottlenecks are.
You said you've been at Nubank for over 3 years. Is that how long your team has been a thing?
Now, my team has been a little bit longer than that. We have been going through a lot of changes and we have been increasing the scope. So back in 2000, I would say maybe 19, 18, I guess just 2 people or 3 people working in reliability/observability at Nubank. And now our team has over 20 people working in the reliability squad.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so do the 20 people work on internal tooling or are they out helping application teams?
Working on internal tooling, basically. That's something that we want to do. And you think that's very important to do, to be more enablers, working with the teams to help them to make a better observability. Because observability is a culture that sometimes can be a really challenging for people to understand the value of it. Because at some point, the engineers, they're just focused on deploying new services and deploying new features and deploying new applications. But our role here is really make the engineers understand that it's not just about deploying new features and deploying new services, but how you're going to observe and you understand that your services has been healthy.
Yeah, whether they're working, whether they're being useful.
Yeah, so it's not just, okay, yeah, just deploy a services and I'm not going to see these services anymore. No, you need to build, run, and maintain. And to maintain and to understand what's going on, observability is very important for you. It's not just about write a code and do not come back and review it. It's not about that. It's about for the teams to really understand how important it is to maintain your code in your application. The ways of your doing this is through observability as well.
Yeah, that gets back to the owners, not renters.
Exactly. So you need to act like an owner, not renter. That's correct.
Yeah.
And that's why we are much more we are responsible to provide the tool and make sure that the tool is resilience, is reliable. We have a good data. It's not going, we have our internal SLAs, SLIs, and we have a good performance, good stability, scalability. You need to assure that as a platform owners of observability tools, but the other teams need to be responsible to set up their services and to build their dashboards, set up alerts, provide a custom alerts, and they should be responsible to understand the whole flow.
Nice. Okay, so each team does have their own alerts and also the whole flow. That's cool. So is everybody on call for their own code?
Yeah, we have been making good progress in the past months, to be honest. We have every time that we create services, there's some default alerts already.
Okay.
And we have some default observability in the services. So even though the users do not customize their observability, we already provide a basic and default observability for each services, which is great. So each services has a default alerts, some default dashboards already. And we have already some common libraries already set up in the services. So even though people are not really keen to improve their observability, we already provide a default observability, which make us be very fast to identify some issues and act faster in an incident.
Nice. So you can always tell when their service is having some problem.
Yes, we can always tell that based on the default setup that we already provide to your users. Obviously, if you customize your services would be much better because as observability reliability team, I'm not be able to understand the business needs for each squad. But
Exactly.
as we our goal to help every new banker run their applications with confidence, we provide some defaults observability for each services, which can be enough in a lot of cases. But in other cases, obviously, it's important for each team to be customize their own services based on the business needs.
That's where you get the really high quality data.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You could find out it blew up. You could find out how slow it is. You could find out all these basic things, what the queries are coming in and such. But to really understand what they're doing, you have to inject that little bit of knowledge that will help you understand what the business need is for the thing you're working on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the custom sauce right there, you know?
Yeah, because some of them need a credit card number and an account ID, and others of them need an airline and a flight number.
Yeah, and that's why the observability culture is very important across the company. And that's why you have been growing a lot as a team, like you have people of 2, 3, 4, and now you have over 20 people. And that's part of the game as well. It's not just provide the tools, but help them to run their applications and make their applications more reliable.
And that's necessary to support so much complexity. Because you said earlier that Nubank is a technology company and your goal is to fight complexity. Now, is that complexity for the customer?
Yeah. Complexity for the whole population, actually. Because when you don't need to be to go to a place to open a new account, for example. You do everything online. You don't have a branch or bank agency across the streets. It's everything remote. So that's part of fighting complexity and reduce the bureaucracy to even open a new account. We do not need to be talking to someone to open a new account. We do not need to call someone to really check your balance. You can do this through the app. So, but for you to be able to access the app in a few steps, you can see you're checking your balances. You need to have, a good performance application, a good observability, a good reliability. So that's part of the ecosystem. Everything is connected. So fight complexity. Think about the whole population, about the people that really want to make their life easier and access just a application through their phone. And here internally, also it's our mission to fight complexity in terms of data, handle a massive volume of data, and how we make this more reliable for our internal users as well.
And at the same time, to reduce complexity for the population, you have to put a lot of that complexity into the software. It has to do a lot of things and have a lot of capabilities. And your team supports that.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's the challenge because it's not something that everything needs to be connected. And we are in a part of be very fragmented and be like observability 1.0. And now we need to move to observability 2.0 and then be moving to observability 3.0. So we need to always be changing, always be improving in the ways that we provide your services. Because yes, we do provide services as well. As our reliability area, as observability area, you should provide services. And it's not only that, but understand the different use cases that you have internally. Because it needs to be handled with like fraud team that needs to be running multiple fraud roles to prevent any fraud in your app, but also should be dealing with other type of complexity. So each use case in each business area has a very high complexity. And we have just one tool to attend all those different types of users that you have currently. So that's a lot of work that you need to do here to ensure that Nubank will be grow and scale in a very sustainable way.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a great mission. It also sounds like a great place to work.
It's a great place to work. Yeah, I really like to work here because, as I mentioned earlier, you have a very high autonomy to work. And as we have, one of our slogans is to act like owner nor renter, that make us feel excited about big running things on our own and think that every day is still the day one. It makes us never relax or calm down. Like you still need things to improve. Okay, we reach our goal. What's the next step? What's our next goal? What's our next level? So that's how Nubank works, and that's how we have been growing a lot in the past 10 years. We are in one of the largest digital banks in the world. So
yeah,
in a very short period of time, and be reaching over 100 million customers across
It's huge.
3 countries. That's a lot.
yeah. What do you think is the next level? What's Observability 3.0?
Well, AI has been playing a very specific role here. Huh? So everybody wants to be a AI first, and I feel that everyone's kind of fear of missing out. And we are also looking for implementing some AI here. We're already doing already. So you have our login tool where we develop an internal login tool here, and you have some AI assistant already. So we are already helping users on their daily basis to run faster, as I have been mentioned here. And AI, I think, in terms of observability, can really help us to be more proactive and less reactive and understand the trends, but not only the past the trends, but how you can do some anomaly detection faster and how you can project the future based on the past. So AI can really help us that in a very faster way. So we are working on that. That's the next steps. Do some correlations, connect all the different telemetry signals, not be fragmented anymore, like be how this whole ecosystem can be connected to each other, and how AI can help us boost and leverage observability across Nubank, helping users be much more proactive and less reactive.
Great.
I did have a question around, so you have your team of about 20 people, and there's an infinite number of platforms and languages out there in the world, right? So, and in terms of open telemetry, it's a smaller Venn diagram. There's a smaller number of languages that support it than the universe. But are you standardized as a company on a separate set of platforms? Or is that part of what your team does is when someone brings in, let's say they bring in Python for the first time, or they bring in something else for the first time. Is that what your platform team does, is takes a look and says, okay, this type of microservice running in this platform needs some observability wrappers around it. So we'll help your team get up and running with that. And then now you have that as a baseline for the next team that comes along with like a Python-based service?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good question, because that's what we are exactly doing right now. We are very good for standardized and canonical stack, but as we are growing a lot and you need to support different types of language, new M&As, for example, different types of accounts that may be onboarded at Nubank. So we must be as a plug and play platform. So you should be able to onboard any type of language or any type of company in a very short period of time. That's what you're doing right now. We are really good on provide reliability for our standardized stack.
Is that Closure?
Yeah, is that Closure?
I was waiting for that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I knew it had to be.
Yeah, we had Closure, we have Kubernetes. We are really good to provide that. However, we should not provide only that. We should provide different types of language, different types of technology, and that's what we are doing right now.
So I guess you would have one of you partner with that team that's coming on board and build it up from the beginning with them, be a partner to that team to enable them, and then you can spread the word to others, right?
Yes, and that's what we were exactly doing with one of the teams. That the team was responsible for external infrastructure. They have physical data centers, and now we are onboarding them. That we should onboard them into our stack. In the next, obviously, it's going to take few months or even years to be fully onboarded. But our goal is to think about it, how we can onboard new teams without take so long. And that's an example that I have right now. That's a different team that they run our infrastructure in a different way, and they have some physical data centers, and you should really be able to onboard them in our current stack.
Great.
And also Python, you should be able to support Python. We already do, but there is some improvements that we need to be doing from our side. So as our goal is to really be a plug and play for different types of languages and technologies, not only Clojure or Kubernetes, but for any type of technology.
I guess using OpenTelemetry helps with that.
We are analyzed that, definitely. We have been analyzed that. We have OpenTelemetry for Trace, but for log and for metrics, for Python, you have used OpenTelemetry as well. But for logs, no. And for our canonical metrics, we do not use OpenTelemetry, but something that we are currently running at Discovery to see if you can use OpenTelemetry.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And it should be really helpful for us to be correlated with different types of telemetry signals. And it's part of our product strategy.
Great. Amarilis, how can people learn more?
We have our Nubank website. I guess can people really learn more about Nubank, access the social media, or even in the website. We have a lot of information about Nubank over there.
Nice. Nubank is Nubank.
Yes.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much.
That's all we have time for today. If you're interested in being a guest on this show, or if you would like to suggest a topic, find us on Twitter at o11ycast. That's o11ycast. o11ycast is brought to you by Heavybit, the leading investor in developer-first startups. To learn more about Heavybit, visit heavybit.com.